What's up guys, this is Z-House from Gun Gamers, and today we're talking about the Primary Arms Compact Weapon Light. Now for a brief introduction, for those of you who don't know who Primary Arms is, they are a dealer and in some ways a manufacturer, although they generally source most of their stuff, of firearms accessories. So you go to their website and it's all guns and tactical stuff, and they also have some stuff that's their own branded stuff such as their optics and their flashlights. And that's what we're taking a look at today. This is the compact weapon light, and I believe this goes on their website for right around $70, plus a couple of extras that you can add on that add to the price. They have mounts and tape switches available, and I believe that the light with the tape switch will come out to right around $80 if I recall correctly. Now, one thing you'll notice right away looking at the light is that the name compact weapon light is being used pretty loosely. I mean, it's compact compared to Primary Arms' other weapon light offering, the Ultimate Weapon Light, I believe is what they call it, but the compact weapon light is pretty sizable. I mean, this is easily as big as something like a Surefire 6P, if not larger. You compare this to a Surefire Scout mount or something like the new Streamlight ProTac rail mounts, it's way bigger in terms of girth and length. It's not a small light at all. So compact is a bit of a misnomer, but let's, size aside, how does the light work? The compact weapon light runs off two CR123s that are in the actual body itself, and you can use it with a tape switch or a tail cap. I use the tail cap on my Mossberg 500 here because when you press it in, it'll go momentary on, and then you release it, or you can click it in for constant on, again, release it. And then when it's in for constant on, that's just constant on. It's click on and off, and there's only momentary activation for turning it on momentary and then turning it off. I found that it's very forgiving for the momentary on. You can click it pretty hard without accidentally engaging the click. The momentary on is great. I've especially noticed that if you push toward the side of the button and kind of press in, that works really well. I've run this light on this shotgun for quite a while now, and it's held up to the recoil great. It doesn't flicker on and off when you're actually shooting it if you have it in constant on mode, which has been a big plus. It's very durable, very robust, works great on my shotgun, and yeah, I like it so much on my shotgun that I decided to buy one for my airsoft guns. So here you see the Primary Arms compact weapon light mounted onto an airsoft gun. It has a 1-inch body for mounts, obviously, as you can probably guess from the fact that it's not really all that compact. So it is compatible with, standard scope rings generally. Most mounts that say they'll fit a 1-inch, I haven't had any issue fitting it into. And I put this light on my airsoft rifle because I figured, well, it's held up to my shotgun. I figure it's good enough for airsoft. I actually ran the one that's on my shotgun on my Crytac for a while before I swapped it out for an LZ. But honestly, for the price point that these flashlights come in at and for how durable and for how bright they are, I've had very good luck with them. The tape switch is a point that I want to give to Primary Arms as well. The tape switch has an actual tactile click when you press it in. Maybe you can hear that, but there's an actual click when you press in on the tape switch, which is actually kind of nice because it does, let you know that, hey, you've pressed on the light numbnuts, so you can actually hear it and feel it. It's not a very hard pressure to activate the light, so there is definitely some worry about negligent discharge of your light, but generally speaking, if you keep that clear, if you have good muzzle awareness, if you keep your thumb off of it, I haven't found that to be a huge issue. The tape switch design is very nice because you've got the very textured area on the front where you can put your thumb on to activate, or you have the actual raised button on the back to activate. So it's it feels like there's two distinct activation areas that are nicely marked, and I really like that. One thing I don't love as much is that the actual case for the pressure pad itself is very soft. So when you go to zip tie it, you notice it especially, and the pressure pad likes to just wiggle around a lot when you have it mounted. It's not a huge issue. Again, if you zip tie it down nice and tight, I haven't found it to be a big problem, but it is something to look out for. Other pressure pads that are more robust and that fit into, direct rail mounts might be more your thing, because this pressure pad compared to those, it hasn't proven to be flimsy. It hasn't failed on me yet, even, out in the rain and, doing some hard elements, putting this thing in the ground. But compared to, say, a Surefire pressure pad or an Elzetta pressure pad, you do notice it, and it does honestly fall short. One area that doesn't fall short, though, is the actual wire that runs to and from the light is very nice. That's very good. The protector that runs out of the back here does separate a bit, but the wire itself is really, really thick, heavy gauge wire. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. So as you can see, the light does come in two different colorations. There's the flat dark earth coloration and the black coloration. Whatever one you like is the one that you're gonna get. As for the actual performance of these lights, what would these lights' specialties be? I would say this light is good for sub 50 yards. Now, it is capable of illuminating out to 50 yards and maybe a little beyond, but generally speaking, the spill is pretty generous, and the hot spot does tend to dissolve the further you get out. So while this light has a respectable amount of throw, enough for any home defense scenario and enough for most airsoft guns range, you might not want to look at this if you're looking for something that'll go out to 100 yards. I'd say that you're going to get good illumination out to about 50 yards, and I'll put some pictures to show that. So I'm sure you're asking, okay, so this crazy nerd has spent a whole bunch of time talking about how the lights work and what he thinks about them. Are they worth the money? In my opinion, these are definitely some of the better lights you can get in their price range. If you compare these to any like the UTG or any of the other crappy lights that come in sub $100, I think these are leaps and bounds ahead of them. Now, Streamlight and Surefire, you can get some really solid lights from them for sub, like $80, and mount those with a mount and use those with the tail cap, and those are great. Again, that's a perfectly legitimate option, but most of them don't have an option for a pressure pad, a tape switch. So I do like the way this light is built. I think it's very robust. I think it has great spill and respectable throw for what it is, but it's big and chunky and heavy for a compact weapon light. The tape switch is not as nice as on more expensive lights, but it's good for the price range. But the reliability and the robustness and the durability has really been there. So would I recommend this light? If you're comparing this light to, say, a UTG or something in that area, or any of the Chinese knockoffs, yeah, I would say this is definitely worth looking at. Would I recommend it over a Streamlight or a Surefire? Probably not. I mean, those companies just have that reputation behind them, and I've had great luck with all my Streamlight and Surefire products, obviously, as pretty much everyone has. But if you're looking for a solid weapon light that will work and won't totally break the bank and can be used for, generally, like I said, sub 50 yard applications, this is definitely one to look for. So with all of that said, I'm E-House from Gun Gamers, and I'm signing off. I hope you found this review helpful, and happy hunting.